Evaluation question 7.
Before media studies, what filming or editing experience did you have?
Well, I filmed a bit on holidays with my dad, and I also did GCSE photography, so I had a good idea how to use a camera, but I'd never had to film technically. I've also used Windows Movie Maker, using footage from my family and friends that they've taken of me on horses, and I've also put that on YouTube. So I had a good idea how to use some of the things, but I've not used any of the complicated software like we use for my A-level.
Your prelim was one of your first efforts at filming and editing. We'll watch that back now.
So from this, we learnt techniques such as the 180-degree rule, match on action, shot reverse shot, but there was no preparation or organisation as it was a short task. And the editing was very basic, so we could get used to how to use the software appropriately. We also developed our understanding of the term continuity editing. This shows the breaking of the 180-degree rule, so we knew what not to do when we came to film our own things.
You later undertook a short film exercise, a microdrama. Talk us through what you learned from this, including any specific points or elements of cinematography and the filming process, manipulating mise-en-scene, organising a shoot, working with the team, editing, the role and impact of audience feedback, the sole research played in this, and anything else you want to address.
Well, we did an experimental microdrama, and we had a little bit of preparation time on this. We also looked at narrative theories, such as Barthes, who did narrative enigma, Todorov, who did narrative series and structure, Levi Strauss, who did binary opposites, and Propp, who did character archetypes. From this, we used his ideas of villain, antagonist who struggles against a hero. We used Poppy and Connell for these characters. We also had a hero and a protagonist who reacts to the donor and wins back the prize, and I was the prize. We also did Todorov's theory of equilibrium. So there's the balance in the beginning, a happy couple, everything's happy, and then the disruption, which was the kidnap, recognition of the disruption, so realising that the victim was missing, an attempt to repair the disruption, searching for the victim, and then to reinstate the reinstatement of balance, which is the victim was found. From this, we learned how to use all the appropriate terms correctly and the theories, so we could apply them later for our own films. We also learned a bit more about the editing, and we also could experiment and try things out and see how they looked. So this gave us more confidence on using the software, because at first we were all quite daunted because it looked so complicated, because it's a professional piece of software. We also got audience feedback, and we thought that we could have experimented more using the software, and we could have used our improved our editing and work further by editing effects and sounds, and some of the scenes could have been shortened so there is not a jolty start or ending.
So is that what distinguishes it from the prelim?
Yes, we got audience feedback, so then we could improve our ideas, and so we could know how to improve for in the future.
Mise-en-scene film, you had another practice task in which you were limited to 10 words at most and had to mainly communicate through mise-en-scene, challenging you to grasp how manipulating the semiotics of location, costume, props, framing, etc. can anchor your preferred reading. What skill sets did you use or develop for this?
Well, we worked in a team, and we had a little bit more preparation time. So because we had more preparation time, it meant that we could look at where we were going to film, so the location was really important for this. As we decided it was going to be in an office, and somebody was going to come in and hack the systems, and the security guard was going to try and walk around and see if they could find him, but they weren't in the end. And then they'd hacked into all the computer systems. So we had to make sure that the locations were right and that we had appropriate costumes. So we planned the costumes so that the security guard looked correctly dressed and wasn't just wearing average clothes. They had a shirt, trousers, and then jailer keys. We also learned more editing skills, as this meant we could edit further and experiment more. I really enjoyed working in a big group, and I like how all our ideas put together and we always came up with something good. But as a group we found it difficult to keep within the time schedule because we had so much to film and they were all in different locations, which some we had to wait for to become available, especially at the front of school where some of it was filmed.
In contrast to the prelim and the microdrama, the coursework production has been a more involved affair. Talk us through some of the initial steps: pitching, forming a group, tweaking, changing the idea as a group, research into the genre and learning from actual genre openings, further idea adjustments, producing a screenplay and undertaking sample shoots.
So for this we had to make a pitch to the class and talk about our ideas of what we wanted to do for our film. I came up with The Lonely Obsession, which was going to be a rom-com, a jealousy and a love triangle, using an object of desire, that being the guy that the girl falls in love with and who her best friend steals from her. We had to compare it, and I compared it to Sliding Doors and Bridget Jones's Diary. So then we also had to talk about the characters that we were going to use, and then the costumes that we were going to make our characters wear in order for them to be accurately represented. We also had to talk about props, so we know so the audience knew how the film would work, and we had to write them down so we wouldn't forget anything that was important or vital. Next we came on to our first idea. So we got put into groups, and I was chosen to go with someone called Connell, and we chose to keep the rom-com theme. We had 4 initial ideas, which you can see here. So as you can see, from 2 to 3, this really changed because we changed the scrapbook idea slightly. We also took inspiration from Napoleon Dynamite, which was a film that we thought was really inspirational and something that we could accurately reproduce. Then we took idea 4, which the scrapbook was eliminated, and we took a slightly different approach. And the location for this was going to be school, because it was going to be easier for us to film rather than it being at people's houses and trying to film. And it was, especially for the original idea, which was a party, it was difficult to get a proper party scene going together in the space and the time that we had allocated. So then we looked at genre research, and for this we looked at Submarine, which was an indie low-budget film. The budget for this we don't know, but it was a really good film that had a low budget. It was also a British film, so we thought we could take a bit of inspiration from this. We also liked the way that the shots were produced, as they provided interesting shots and looked interesting, and something that we thought we could accurately reproduce as well. Sliding Doors was something that we thought was quite inspirational, but it did only have a budget of 9 million, which is very small. We also looked at Pretty in Pink, which was an American film. We liked this because it was a twist on a sort of a stereotypical rom-com, and we thought we could take inspiration from the protagonist, which was a girl who had ginger hair and who was quite outcast, as she had clothes that weren't very fashionable at the time. who liked this person here, who we can see looks quite popular, and this character, which we thought we could reproduce for ours, which was good. We also looked at Napoleon Dynamite and took inspiration for our diegetic titles. Diegetic titles are when they are in the world of the film rather than shown on screen. So as you can see from these are made from food, and they've got the names of the director and other actors, etc. There's also bits of paper here, but we thought these were going to be hard to reproduce, and we thought that ours would look not as good as these looked quite detailed. We liked the idea of these, and showing them on products, we thought that was a good idea too. We also looked at Crazy Stupid Love, which also has quite a low budget in comparison to a lot of big American films. However, when it came to our actual idea, it was not really what we were looking for, but we thought it was still a good example of a rom-com, and it followed the conventions of a rom-com, so we thought that was important to still look at it. We also looked at Bridget Jones's Diary, which is a British film, and we looked at everything from the titles to the sound to the opening itself, and we thought this was quite inspirational, as although it was quite a high budget for a British film, very high, it was still something that we thought we could take some ideas from. So we also did other research, such as who would watch a rom-com, in order to make sure that we had our target audience correctly established, as we wanted to make sure that we were targeting the right people to make sure that our film would be well watched. We also read up on some articles from Box Office Mojo, Sky Movies, The Guardian, etc. We also made further adjustments by making sure that we had rehearsals in place to make sure that we'd chosen the right characters and that they could dress appropriately and act in the way that we wanted to act. We also made a screenplay, and we also made other things which are also on my blog, such as planning for our shoots and then reviewing them afterwards. We also looked at we also made animatics, and we also did another practice shoot. We made screenplays, storyboards, lots of them, as we felt this was really important and we could keep up to date with what we were doing, and we also made a treatment.